Welcome back to the Fearless Females Voice podcast. On this episode, I am joined by Vanisha Patel, who is a social media content expert. I've been following Vanisha for a while now and love the content which she puts out there. She always comes across positive and vibrant with eye-catching posts. She oozes confidence and creativity. Vanisha had the normal educational path growing up by going to school and then heading to university. She then realised that university wasn't for her and she decided to leave and do some soul searching. Through this, she found her strengths and had an aha moment. This is what triggered her starting her own business. On this podcast, she talks to us about her background in education, how it was for her going down an unconventional path, how she keeps a positive attitude, the downsides of social media, tips and advice for content, and running her own business. This is a great episode, so hope you enjoy the listen. Without further ado, let's get stuck in. What does being a fearless female mean to you?
You know what? I was thinking about this earlier on. There's so many different things a fearless female can mean. It's things from someone who's got courage, someone who is strong, someone who's not afraid to share her opinion and follow her dreams. There's so many different things, but I think courage is a really, really big one, and being really strong despite whatever's happening to you. Like, you pick yourself up and you keep going.
Yeah, I like that. I completely agree.
And just to add to that as well, I was actually thinking of my ma. So for listeners who may not know, ma is my grandma. So people like my ma, my mom, I compare my life to theirs, and the fact that when we're born, we've got things like Wi-Fi, social media, a smartphone, all these things. They didn't have all of these things. So you think back to them, and it's like they're actually fearless females as well, because of the fact that they brought us up. It's crazy just to think the lives that we've got compared to theirs.
You know what? I love that. So my mum is definitely one of my role models and inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
So she's actually born in Africa, and it's exactly very similar to that. So when she was growing up, her and her family, they didn't have things like Wi-Fi and whatever else. But I found they were so much more grateful for everything. They were so much more engaged with what was happening and connected with the people around them. It's a completely different life, but everything that she's learned and my uncles and aunts and family have learned through growing up in another country, yes, but without all the luxuries of what we have now, it's really passed on to me and also my cousins and my generation. And I love it. I just find it really inspirational. It's just a learning that this generation will maybe struggle to have. It's just, yeah, I agree with that. That's actually a really nice definition.
And it's
I like that.
Do you know, when I went to Zimbabwe in 2016, it's where my dad's from. So when we went there, we went to the villages where they grew up, and it was so crazy to see their home, so run down, where my grandma used to cook. And it's how did you survive? How did you do all these things? When they came to the UK, it's they used to walk outside, in the snow and the toilets. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And here's me complaining about the littlest things. I'm like, stop, just stop.
And the best thing is, they were the happiest people. When I hear all their memories and stories, I'm just like, wow, you guys had such a good quality of life there. And they were so, so happy. Mm-hmm. It wasn't about what car you drive or what, how big your house is. It was just more about your lifestyle and the love and the people around you. I just think it's inspiring.
It's true. And the fact that you said happy. So even when we went there to this village that was run down in Zimbabwe, the people that showed us around were so happy. And I was like, oh my gosh. And here's me walking around with my smartphone taking really cool pictures. My sister take pictures of me for Instagram, and they're there oh my god, so happy.
Oh, I love that. That's actually really nice. I can't say I've actually been back to see my parents home back in Africa yet, but we're looking to go. We're actually going to go this year, but due to COVID our trip got cancelled. But hey, there you go.
When we can go. Hey,
oh, I know. So tell us, Vanisha, tell us a bit about yourself.
So I actually left my job in 2016. Prior to that, I was working for the county council, capital firm Marina, a solicitor's firm, a magistrate's court. And I was one of those people, when I was idea what I wanted to do. I took a gap year. I thought I want to do law. I didn't finish uni. And then I was going from job to job thinking, what can I do? And in 2016, my last job was working for the county council, and that's when I stumbled upon network marketing. So I left my job, network marketing, retailing aloe vera products, building the team, But whilst I was doing that, I started doing work as a virtual assistant. So like email social media posts. And fast forward on 5 years, I actually now help businesses with their social media because of the fact that I've been along this crazy journey working on, for so many different places, from network marketing to a virtual assistant to social media. So now all I do is I help other business owners, network marketers to tell their story.
Oh, wow. That sounds like a real journey, that does.
It has.
If we take it back then to when you were doing these different roles, how were you feeling when you were going through that process of kind of changing direction and changing roles?
Really lost. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. Even when I was working in retail, I loved it, like earning money and all these things. Back in my head, I thought, everyone's applying to go to uni. And I'm like, what do I want to do? And I didn't know. I really enjoyed English. I like psychology. And then I felt like I did uni just for the sake of it, because it's like, you need to go to uni, get a degree, become an accountant, all these things, like become a doctor, accountant. And I felt like I was doing it for the sake of it. So whilst at uni, like I didn't enjoy it. I used to go to lectures with one of my friends, just eating sandwiches.
Who did you feel the pressure, or not? I guess who or how did you feel the pressure of going to uni? Because I remember when we're in that college, when we're in college and the process of, okay, you're going to finish college to get your A levels, and then it's almost like when we were in school anyway, it's almost like the next path is, okay, university. So that's almost like a given. That's the right path, even though you don't really know how many paths there are. That's the only path that's really shown. And when I was in school, that was all I could see anyway. So
It's
even
true.
if you're not keen on going to university or know what, because I was the same. I wasn't like, oh, I 100% know what I'm doing, what I want to be when I'm older. It was more just like, oh, I'm good at this, I'm good at that. Let's just combine that and then I get this. So how was that for you? Like the process of understanding or going into university? Like I know you didn't really enjoy it at the start, so.
Not at all. I felt like I was just there for the partying. Like, sorry for any family members that are listening, but I'm just being honest. Like, I feel like I was just there for the sake of it because I assumed that this is what I needed to do. But I was really, really sort of unhappy.
So then you said you left university early?
That's right.
And how did people take that?
I didn't tell family for months. In fact, I pretended. And it's not even just university. When I left my job, I didn't tell anyone for months because people just assume, like even my mom, for example, why are you leaving a full-time job? Like I was on a good salary, I was enjoying it, but I thought, I'm not actually enjoying it.
How did you feel? So you were doing this role, as you said, you were earning good money, you were enjoying it, but there was something missing. Is that how it felt? So you left?
I felt as though I had so much more to give because yes, I was enjoying what I was doing, but I thought I'm going above and beyond because my role at the council was like doing things like helping with events, admin, social media, running around, helping catering. And it got to a point where my manager actually said to me one day, where have you been? I said, oh, I've been helping the catering staff. And he said, but that's not your job. I was like, I love helping people. And that's when I thought, I can do so much more than this.
I love that. It's almost like finding something that fulfills you, that makes you fulfill your full potential as well. I think that's really key. And actually, a lot of people find this at later on in their life. So it's quite nice that you found it at such an early age. And I got to say, hats off to you, because that takes a lot of courage to actually then quit what you're doing to start doing something and take a leap of faith almost into something new.
It's crazy. And it's amazing because so many like school friends or college friends, like they reach out to me after the year saying, I've been following you for such and such, like seeing your journey. And it's amazing to see. And there's me comparing myself to them thinking, oh my gosh, you've got a degree, you're living in London. Like, and I feel like I'm not good enough. So when I hear back from them, it's like, oh, maybe I am.
Yeah, everybody has their own path that they want to take, right?
I agree.
So this works for you. And the key thing is happiness. So as long as this fulfills what you want to do and you're happy in it, because there are loads of people who do jobs for things like security or money, whereas they're not happy. And that's one thing that I always think of, like, say, okay, well, are you happy in what you're doing? Do you feel content? And is this something you see yourself doing long term? Because we're going to be working for a long time, right?
Exactly.
So
I feel so happy. Like sometimes People think I'm crazy because I love getting up at 5 or 6. I love like going out for walks. And you know what's really bizarre? When I'm driving in the mornings and I see people rushing to work and I'm there like at a park and I'm thinking, I chose to get up early. I chose to drive and do this walk. And I have a choice. I could easily sleep in, start my working day at 11 or 12. But I have a choice. And when I go for a walk with like my friends who are also like self-employed, I say that to them and it's just like a pinch me moment. Like, how wonderful is this? Like I was saying it to, the other day to my friend, I was like, how amazing is this that we get to go to Bradgate Park, walk around for 2 hours, go home, have breakfast, and start our working day at 11 or 12 because we choose to do that.
Yeah, you're in control of your own schedule. I like that.
It is. It's the best feeling.
So then what happened when you quit your job then? You had a few months of discovery?
Mm-hmm. So when I left, it wasn't the greatest because I had like really bad wisdom tooth pain. I had wisdom teeth removed. One of my uni friends passed away. So from July, August up until I think December, January, I was literally so low, feeling sorry for myself, thinking, what am I doing? But as soon as it started to pick up in January, like it just carried on growing.
But what do you mean pick up? So how did it start?
I think because I was persistent. So even though I was feeling a bit like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I carried on like reaching out to people on social media. So that was with like my products on the virtual assistant side. So the more that I kept showing up, like, you know, for example, in groups, one of the first clients that I got, she was actually based in Dubai. And I was like, oh my gosh. And you know, when you start and it's just like from then on, it's like a snowball. It just carried on and it just grew.
Yeah, it picks up momentum and then you're off.
Exactly.
So that was your first business. So that was in products, right? You were saying, and you were a
Yes.
virtual assistant. So then how did you find this current business that you're working on?
Okay.
Which is
So
slightly
when I was
different.
doing the product business, at the same time, I was doing the virtual assistant. It got to a point where one of my friends said, you need to make a decision. Because imagine 1 minute I'm promoting these products, saying, buy this and join my team and all. But at the same time, I was doing my virtual assistant side and
Mm.
doing more social media. And I think people getting confused, like, what is she doing? What is she up to? As much as I was loving it. So it got to the point where one of my friends actually said to me, well, which one do you enjoy? The product side or the VA side in social media? And I said, the social media. And then I started carrying on with the social media, managing accounts. And now that I concentrate on one thing, I'm so much happier. It's like your mind and your focus is just on one thing.
Mm. So why don't you tell us like a summary of what it is that you do then, what your business does?
Oh my gosh. So I help my clients show up confidently on social media, like with their content, because I have so many clients that come to me and say, what do I post? So, for example, I had a client in the travel industry and she said to me, oh, can you have a look at my Facebook page? And all she was doing was promoting, go to Greece for such and such, go to the Dominican Republic, go to New Zealand, you know, with just the prices. And I said,
Mm.
what about the fact that you've traveled to all these different places? Have you spoken about your top tier? Have you shared things like your recommendations, your blog posts? You know, like when people come to me and say, I don't know what to post, it's like I open up like a can of worms thinking, oh, you can post so many different things.
So you almost kind of organize their thoughts and
Yeah.
what their business or content should be about and almost map it out for them. Is that right?
And I love it. I get a buzz out of doing it. So it's like, right, let's look at your and think, what have you got coming up? Have you got any sales or any offers coming up? And it's like, how can we talk about that in a strategic way? Like, how can we share tips, add value, and do it in a way that they feel comfortable and confident as well?
Yeah. Do you have a strategy or a process for this, or is this just kind of thinking once you have an initial consultation with someone, you just have all these ideas or thoughts, or how does
Yeah.
it work?
Initially, I did have like lots of ideas and thoughts, but then it's like I've got a strategy in place. So I explain to them what's worked well for me. And it's a case of working backwards. So if you know your year ahead, what's coming up, what you're launching, you think backwards and think, right, how can I sell this? What value can I add? What lead magnets can I share? And it's like when you work backwards, you've just got so much content. And then it's a case of creating like the graphics, your images, and the fun side to it. And you can tell I love it because every time I'm on a call, I always say to them, right, shall I stop? Is this too much?
I can definitely tell, like, you've got a big smile on your face whilst you're talking about this as well. So yeah.
Love content.
You know what? I agree. So I started this Fearless Females platform, and I'm in a similar boat where I'm just starting off. It's been about 7 weeks now, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, what do I post? And I'm kind of overthinking things, and I'm creating my own little graphics as well. Really basic stuff, nothing compared to, I guess, what you can do. But it's really simple. But there is that kind of challenge for me. I'm thinking, oh, what do I do tomorrow? What should I post next week? And I guess many people go through that, right? It's a bit of a kind of challenge to be like, right, what do we post next, or what's going to work for us, or what are we trying to get out of this, or what's the value add? So that's constantly something that I'm thinking of as well. So I was like, oh, it'd be good to chat to you about it.
It's even looking at, for example, December. So what's going to happen? They'll be eating, they'll be hibernating, eating some more, and it's like, you need to make your post relatable. So by the time they read your things, yes, it's about the podcast, but it's like, you need to share content that's actually shareable. You're talking about Christmas. Then you think of January, New Year, new me, New Year's resolutions. How can you link that to your podcast? And then you just carry on.
So how did you get this creative flair for social media specifically?
I think because I just carried on posting over the years. Like when we got together with family, when it was Christmas, when I'm like eating, whatever it is, I didn't realize following. So people kind of know me. So it's like when they speak to me, they know that I love my morning walks. They know that I post like happy selfies. They know I love a second breakfast. They know what I like to eat. So it's just by doing these things that people ask me, like, can you help me with this? And it's like, of course I can.
So we were talking earlier just before the podcast, and I was saying to you that every time I see you on social media, and by the way, I'll link Vanisha's page onto the show notes of this. She's got a great Instagram page, so definitely check it out. And you're always positive. You've always got something that I want to see. It's the way you almost like frame your posts. I think it's great. So I guess there's two questions here. How do you always remain positive in what you're showing?
I think it's feeding my mind with positivity. So things like my morning routine, it's writing down 10 things that I'm grateful for, journaling, reading. 2 of the books that I'm reading now, actually 4, is Building a Brand Story, Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty, You Are a Badass by Making Money. So it's constantly feeding your mind with good things. I listen to motivational shows. When I'm walking, I'm listening to something motivational like a podcast. Even in the background when I'm working, I've got like positive affirmations that are playing.
Nice. It sounds like you've got quite a lot going on, but it all works for you, and you're almost taking in all that positivity and portraying that back out.
And one thing that I always share is, yes, you might see me being positive in all these things, but there is no harm in sharing moments or days when you're feeling down. So when the UK went into a second lockdown, I was feeling like really anxious, like on the day that it was announced, and really media saying, I'm not feeling myself. So many people reached out to me, and I said, if you're not feeling like yourself, there's no harm in sharing that and talking about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's that's the one thing as well, that this whole situation of what's happened this year has impacted many people, and I guess I don't really see so much of that on social media. So I don't know what you think, but it's something that people don't portray as much. So when I see some of your posts, they're really real. You say it how it is, and a few of the people I follow actually have been doing that, and it's really nice to be like, actually, I can relate to that. It's not just all glitz and glamour. There's also things going on behind the scenes that make people like you a bit more kind of relatable. We can understand what's happening, and we can be like, actually, that's also happening to us. It's easier to talk about it and reach out. So how do you feel when you do that? Because you're almost showing a different side to yourself.
I think so many people reach out to me and relate to it. So it's like when I shared a post about not having a degree, I think it was last year, and this is the post that I was so scared to share. And as soon as I posted it, I was really overwhelmed. Like somebody that I went to uni with, he sent me a voice note, and I was literally in tears because I had and I didn't do it to say, oh, feel sorry for me or well done for all these things. I literally did it because I thought, people don't know this about me, and there's no harm in sharing it. And the more that I did that, so many others reached out to me and said, I don't have a degree either. You don't necessarily need to have a degree. It takes other things, to like work your business. So by the time I share these things, so even when I've had like panic attacks, for example, I shared that and so many people reached out to me, like using positivity. And the more that I share the realness, it actually encourages others to do the same thing without feeling like embarrassed or ashamed.
You know what? You've just defined a fearless female. That is you. Because it takes a lot of guts to show that side to you and exactly what's happening and to share that with the public. Because you may not even know some of your followers. These are just people who follow you, right? They're not personally like your friends, let's say, they're just followers. So it's actually takes a lot of courage to just go and post about yourself
It
and
does.
open
And
up to the world.
saying that as well, I can actually feel like a lump in my throat, because when you think back to these things, you're like, oh my gosh, but I did it and it's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a reason why I really like this Fearless Females as well, because I get to talk to people like you and other women as well. And it's just so nice hearing their stories and being able to relate and share that story with others, because the amount of people who are going through the exact same thing, but they just aren't aware or don't know who to exactly speak to. So it's almost like making it all acceptable that this is okay. This is fine. This is
Exactly.
normal.
Especially when you go on social media and you see this person doing so well, or nice glossy pictures, but then when you actually listen to them, like for example on your podcast, it's so amazing to see the journey that they've been on, like the struggles. Because then if you've got somebody else that's literally just starting out, whether that a new degree or whatever it could be, it's like they can relate to them because they put themselves in their shoes thinking, hold on, but Venetia was struggling with such and such, or this person was struggling with that. If they can do it, then surely I should be able to as well.
Yeah. So going back to your posts on social media, so firstly, I see a lot of positivity, but secondly, so the question on this is, your posts are really engaging. So when I see your post, you have some kind of tagline that I just read the tagline. I'm like, I just want to see what this post is. And I just click on it every time and I like it. I'm just like, this is so interesting. You really draw me in. I'm sure it speaks for others as well, but how do you make that level of engagement work? Like, how do you do that? What are your
I think
tips?
I've looked at what posts have worked before. So little things like I've got a secret to share, or like secret hook lines. But then I think,
Yes.
right, I'm using the same ones. Then all I do is I'm real. So say I'm out and about walking, I literally just write it. And I think it's coming from a place of writing and being open and honest. So instantly people look at that and think, oh my gosh, I can totally relate to that. So things like, guess who's having a second breakfast again? And then people will be like, oh, what's she doing now?
Exactly that. It's almost creating the buzz around what you're doing. It's great.
Exactly. And it works so well because so many people start engaging with it and you start having these conversations with them.
Yeah. So where do you get your inspiration from for your posts?
I'd say not my posts. I think in general, like with business, my dad, because he is a gas engineer slash plumber for what, 10 plus years. And
Wow.
it's crazy because his phone is ringing non-stop. And I just think, oh my gosh, like you just stop. And I just think, oh my gosh, I would love to be that successful. And I get a lot of my inspiration from him and like other people, because I think it takes so much motivation, dedication to keep going. And even like when I write my posts, it's like I see other family members, I think of friends and all these people, and I think, oh my gosh, they're doing so well. And that's what gives me that sort of motivation to carry on doing better for like myself and for them.
Yeah. So what advice would you give? Because you've been through it yourself, and probably twice now as you've started two different ventures, to someone who's looking to start off something.
Keep going. Like even if you don't get anything within the first 2-3 months or even year, just keep going. Like there were moments where I thought of giving up. I thought I'm never going back or working for someone. So just keep going. And with any challenges you face, it's all something to learn from. And there's that phrase which I never know how to say. We go through what we do, you know it? We grow through what we go through.
Yeah. And we grow through what we go through.
That's the one. I can never.
Is that right?
making sure you just keep persevering and you just keep going.
Yeah, and you work in the world of social media, and it's not always very kind to people. So it obviously has its drawback. So what are your thoughts around social media, firstly?
I think there's good things to it and there's bad things to it. Like, obviously, you can get a lot of positivity, inspiration, you can learn, you can build, you can grow. But at the same time, you can compare yourself. It can make you feel down. And I think you've got to really limit your time that you spend on there. Because, yes, it's good for growing your business, posting content. But at the same time, you've got to draw the line and think, right, I need to get off, because I used to be one of those people that used to sit there scrolling, comparing myself, thinking, oh, this person is doing so well. And then I look at me. Yes, it's got its good points, but it's also got its bad points. And you need to manage that and make sure you're not consuming all the time. And you do have times where you think, right, I'm taking a step back. People actually think I'm crazy when I have days where I literally switch my phone off. They're like, oh, I can't do that, but it's the best feeling in the world.
There's a book actually that I've read recently called 24/6. I can't remember the author's name, but I'll write that in the notes as well. It's all about having a day or 24 hours off your phone.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it's a game changer. So what I've started doing is turning my phone off as well in the evenings, because I feel like the evenings are my time. And I like to spend time at home with my fiance, just hanging out, having dinner, catching up with him. Because throughout the day, you're doing your own thing. You're at work, you do your workouts or walks or whatever it is. So I couldn't agree more. Like, I feel like that reset or that switch off from social media, from WhatsApp, from whatever it is, communication is really healthy. And I couldn't recommend it more. Like, I would definitely say give it a shot, even if it's just like one evening a week. Start off there, and that would be really, really I think beneficial for many people. Just give it a try and see what you think, because I've fallen into that trap of, as you said, when you're on social media and you're just kind of scrolling through, and it was just like, oh, yeah. So I'm pretty sure many people do go through that.
So do you have like a downtime when it gets to a certain time in the evening, like, right, phone away, that's it?
Exactly, yeah. So we have dinner together every evening, and then it's very much like, right, we'll put the well, I like to put my phone away. He sometimes does as well. It just depends on what's happening, but I'd probably say like 5 out of 7 evenings, yeah, we've just put our phone away. Very minimal kind of, just I put mine on flight mode, to be honest. Put it
I
on
do
flight
that as
mode.
well. My friend says that to me, like, what if someone needs to get in contact? I said, it can wait until the morning.
Yeah. I literally have that as well, but that's why my auntie the other day was like, you shouldn't put it on flight mode just in case someone's trying to reach you.
It's
So I was like,
true.
oh. So yesterday I just turned everything off, like the mobile data, the Wi-Fi, and just left it off flight mode. So someone can ring me or text me, but yeah, I still just don't check it. I just kind of leave it to the side. I don't take my phone into the bedroom either, so neither one of us do. And I think that works really well as well, because what I used to find myself doing is when I woke up, I turned my phone on, then I
And you
turn
start scrolling.
exactly straight onto Wi-Fi. Oh, check all the messages, and I'm still in bed, and I'm just like, this can't be healthy. I'm literally waking up, and the first thing I'm doing is going on my phone. And that's why we've just said, right, well, my partner never does it anyway, but it was more me. So I was like, right, I'm keeping my phone in the living room. I've been doing that for a very long time now, and it just works really, really well. So you wake up fresh. You're not kind of bombarded by all these different thoughts and posts and images and whatever. It's just more your time. So I really like that. It works for me.
I'm the same. Like, I never check my phone first thing. Like, I use it as an alarm, but it's on airplane mode. So the first thing I do is things like, like gratitude, walks, yoga, whatever it is. And I will put it off when I'm ready, because
Yeah.
it's so easy to, like you said, start scrolling, start replying to messages. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be late for work. I've just wasted 45 minutes looking at this person's Instagram videos. Like, what am I doing?
Yeah, it's addictive as well, isn't it? That's why I try and limit how much I'm on it now as well. It's just when you notice these things about yourself, it's good to make a change about it. So that's what I'm trying to do. And funny you said that you use your phone for your alarm. So that's why I put my phone in my room, because I used to use it for alarm. And because of the reason of, right, first thing I do is, okay, alarm's off, let me go on my phone. To avoid any temptation, I bought an old school alarm clock. I was like,
Love
right, this
that.
is gonna work. Yeah, and my partner has one too, so it's quite nice. We have our own alarm clocks, and it just really helps, because I just find in the morning it's just so much more relaxed. You wake up, you're out, and then I still don't turn my phone on till probably 9. Well, I wake up about 5:30, 6, and I turn my phone on about 9, 10. Even then, I try not to go on it throughout the day, just keep it to the side. But I like what you said about going for walks in the morning as well, because we've been doing that recently. We wake up at 5:30 and then go for a walk,
I
and it's
love that.
it's so peaceful. We're just walking around, like it's still pitch black. Get to see a bit of the sunset, and it just really clears your mind. I
It's
just love it.
amazing. And even
Yeah.
now that it's getting colder, I feel less people are walking.
Yeah, the only downside is because we normally go to the parks, but all the parks are shut. And to be fair, I wouldn't want to go in there anyway. It's pretty creepy when it's pitch black.
I can imagine, especially at that time.
Yeah, exactly. Um, so how has business been for you this year?
Business has been quite good. So I actually came back from New Zealand. So luckily we got back before the first lockdown, and I came back and we were
Okay.
straight into the lockdown. And my business was affected because this is only was I doing like the one-to-one training and coaching for helping business owners, but I was actually creating content for some of my clients. And I actually lost some of those clients because obviously, when COVID hit, it affected everyone. And at first thing I thought, oh, this is really going to affect my business. But then content for myself and for them, but I can actually focus on the one-to-one coaching and the training side, which is helping them with their content, with their video, and getting more visible. So even though my business was affected, I feel like everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, I agree. It's been a bit of a whirlwind of a year, isn't it? There's been so many ups and downs, and
Mm-hmm.
it's been a bit crazy. I've also noticed that you do travel a lot. I've seen on your posts, there's a lot of travel posts. What is it about traveling? Is it something that you really enjoy?
I love it. Like yourself. Like I'm sure I've sent you so many messages and like asked for recommendations. And I think it was in 2016. And I think that's when I went to like Zimbabwe and Berlin. And I love doing like charity walks. So I did like the Great Wall of China. And you just get a buzz, like, when you're somewhere different and it's like
Yeah.
exploring the culture, the food, just being away from home. And I think it's the best feeling. And luckily for me, even though not being able to travel much this year, we had an entire month in New Zealand. So imagine we did both islands, we've got family literally all over. And I think it was just being away, moments where I didn't have Wi-Fi, just like taking in all the surroundings, the sun, and it's just that buzz you get when you're traveling.
Yeah.
I'm
Was that
sure
a
you'd agree with
holiday?
me on this. Yeah,
Oh,
that was a holiday.
100%. That was a holiday. So did you work during that time?
I did, but I didn't work as much. I maybe did about 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, because the beauty of doing what you're doing is you can literally work anywhere, right? Unless you've got a meeting and the time difference doesn't quite match. But
Mhm.
other than that, you're pretty flexible, aren't you?
It was amazing because I think I was prepping from sort of December and January. So everyone was aware. I don't think I had any meetings whilst I was out there. It was all through like voice notes. But it's just amazing because I could literally sit down, 2 3 hours work, grab my phone, I'm done. Now I can relax.
Oh, I love it. And I can talk about traveling for forever. So, but yeah, I absolutely love traveling as well. I couldn't agree more with you. Like the culture, the food, the type of people you meet, everything is just great. It's a massive learning curve. And New
Where's
Zealand's one place that I'd love to go, so I haven't been yet.
where's the one place you want to go, like when this is over?
Oof, that's a good question because we're actually thinking of doing some travel in February if we can. Um, we were supposed to go to the Philippines this year, and it's still really high on my list. I haven't been. I've been wanting to go for a
It
while. So
looks
we were actually going to
amazing.
go. Yeah, we were supposed to go in October, November this year, but
Mhm.
obviously that's going to be postponed to next year now. But still, Australia, New Zealand. I haven't been, but I've been wanting to go once I have a longer period of time to go in because it's such a long flight there and back, and the time difference. So it's some place I still want to go, but that's on my list along
I
with
think
everything else.
I know. I think you need at least 3 to 4 weeks when you go
Yeah,
as
that's the
far as
time that I
that.
didn't have. Yeah. So with your business, you've got a whole different range of clients. How do you promote to these clients, or how do you get these clients?
A lot of it's through word of mouth and referrals. Showed up on such a like consistent basis. So every time that I worked at these different places, it's like people have followed me. So they send me messages saying, hey, I noticed that you do such and such. Can you help me with whatever it is? And
Yeah.
another thing is that I speak at a lot of events. So even before COVID, I used to speak at in-person events. This year I've done a sort of speaking at masterclasses, networking on Zoom. So it's just getting that exposure and really putting yourself out there. I've appeared in like different podcasts. There's so many different ways.
So you're a natural at this then?
I think so. I do get nervous. I think that's natural as well, but I love doing it.
You definitely don't seem it. So you're pulling it off well.
Thank you.
Have you got any tips for networking?
Just do it. Like, honestly, one of the first networking events that I went to, I was so scared that when I ended up going, I actually talked to someone that did the same thing as me. So it was a waste of time. I literally stuck with them the whole time. Like, I don't want to talk to anybody else. But I think it depends if it's in-person events or online events. I think definitely go to them and just do it and just be yourself, because you never know who you might attract. Because even when I was nervous, I used to speak at these events. I've made so many like friendships and clients. So honestly, just do it. Like, and don't be like me. Don't speak to people in the same industry. Do that afterwards.
Yeah, I feel like that's such a key thing to do, isn't it? Network, approach new people. I feel like it will helps people get further in whatever they're looking to do. So yeah, it's really good to have that.
It is. And I feel like I've done a lot of that over the years as well. It's funny because it's like speaking to you now, it's amazing to actually look back and see all these things. Because when people see you, for example, your podcast, they think, oh my gosh, I love her podcast and all these things. But they don't realize like the struggles you might have had. So even from like creating graphics and all these little things.
Yeah. What are some of the key struggles that you've had whilst running your own business?
I think it's mindset. Like, not thinking that I was good enough, because one thing that really affected me was like, oh my gosh, I haven't finished my degree. Like, how can I run a business? How can I do all these things? But it's actually working on myself and my mindset. Because I would never like talk openly about myself and my journey. But the more that I did that, it's like the confidence has just grown so much.
Yeah, I found that as well. With when I started this, I didn't really know what I was doing, and luckily my partner was really good at this, so he's been kind of coaching me through it. And I was initially really nervous to put anything about myself up, and he was like, no, you've got to do it. And I'm just like, I don't want to do it. I feel really nervous. I'm like, what if, I don't want to put myself out there. But actually it's for the good, because putting yourself out there will then help others. And as we talked about, the whole kind of relate to a situation or relate to anything that you're saying, so they can then reach out and you can gain support and they can have support as well. So I think it's actually a nice full circle.
And imagine the impact that you're having as well. Like, you're interviewing all these amazing women, and it's like the impact that you're having, sharing like your journey, sharing their journey. And it's like, you never know who might reach out to you and say, oh my gosh, I was listening to your podcast and I had like a light bulb moment.
Yeah, I've had a lot of really good feedback. And that's what keeps me going. So I'm just like, wow, it's really helping others. And that's the whole purpose of this. I just want to share everyone's experiences. I feel like there's so many women go through so much. So it's almost like I want everyone to have that person they can relate to or speak to, or have that support network. So that's what this is all about. So I think it works really well. So if you were to give someone starting out 3 tips of how to improve their social media content, it could be absolutely anything you think of, what would those tips be?
Oh, I think planning is absolutely key, because something that people like, especially business owners, struggle to do, they think it's Wednesday, let me post such and such. It gets to Friday, it's like, what do I post? If you don't have a plan and a strategy in place, that's when you sit there. Because I'm thinking, oh, I need to get these images, I need to write all this out. But now it takes me maybe less than an hour, I'd say, because everything is planned. It's like I'm always looking at what's coming up, what can I do? So I know in my head what's going out in December. I'm thinking of January. So planning is absolutely key. Another one is this used to be so scary for me, but the more that you show up on video, whether that's your stories or going live, that's when people fall in love with you even more, because it's like you might be making mistakes. Some of my clients actually reached out to me saying, hey, I know that you were sitting by a heater and I kept doing this by my lip. And they were like, I can't believe that you did that. And just by having that conversation, they turn into a client.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so using video really helps.
That's the one thing I was quite nervous about actually. And I had I had Anita on. She's another business owner on episode 6, and she gave me some tips. And since then, I've been testing out video, and it's great. Like I love the feedback that I'm getting. Everyone's like, "Oh wow, this is cool." And she even gave me some feedback. She's like, and it just helped me. It made me feel a bit more confident with it. So I agree with that. It's really nice seeing people come through and their personalities shine through the video. So I think
It's
it
like,
just
and it's like even yourself, you're so natural, even though how long have you been doing this now?
this is my 8th podcast.
See, that's
7
amazing. And it
weeks.
just and it seems like you've been doing it for so much longer. Like you're such a natural.
Oh, thank you. And then third
So
tip.
I think the third tip is be consistent, because oh, I've only got 3 likes or nobody has commented. Don't delete it. Keep it up there, because you never know who is looking. Like there's so many moments where people will reach out to me saying, "Oh, I noticed you're doing such and such." I think back and I think, but you never liked my post. You never commented on anything. Then I think, but you've been stalking me for all these years. So if you think, right, I'm not getting any results, keep going and be consistent. I think
Yeah,
that's a
I
massive
think
one.
that's really key. It's like almost don't get discouraged by thinking that no one's actually seeing your post when actually they are. I've had a bit of that as well. So it's quite nice. Like for me, I agree with those 3 tips. Something that I'm trying to work on as well. But the consistency piece is really critical for me. I'm just like, I want to keep my content going out, and I want it to be something that I want to put out for myself, not because I think it will be good for someone else, like in a sense that it will get lots of likes. It's more like I want it to be useful information that I'm putting out there. So if they like it, they like it. But hey, this is what I want to put out there.
Exactly. And you've got to be happy with what you're doing as well.
Yeah, be real to yourself, right?
I agree.
Yeah.
200%.
So what's next for Vanisha?
Oh, I think I've got a group program that's coming out in January or February. I don't know whether I'm making, I feel like there's changes coming, because when I initially started doing social media, content, video, getting visible, but I've invested a lot in myself, in my coaches, to the point where I can help my clients with their time management, their planning, their mindset. So it's like it's incorporating that into what I do. So I feel like there's changes coming, but I haven't sort of, do you know when there's like something there, but you don't quite know yet? So in
Yeah.
answer to your question, there's changes happening, but yeah, I don't actually know yet.
Okay.
I think
So
that's a good thing.
yeah, it's there's nothing wrong with that. Like it's almost like take a chance and see what happens. Let time pass by. So for 2021 plans, it's almost like let's just see how it goes.
Yeah, definitely. And I know that because over the next sort of less than a month now before I break up for Christmas, there's a lot of sort of things, but I've also had time for myself. So that's when I'll have a clear picture. It's things like speaking to my like 2021, it's speaking to my coach. That's when I'll have a clear picture, because it's like, you know, when you've got ideas, but you need someone to sort of bounce ideas with. So it's like,
Yeah.
I'll be able to answer that question again.
Fair enough. So you said you had a coach.
Yes.
Is this just what type of coach is this?
And I actually started working with one last year. I'm about to work with another.
So which type of coach?
It's a business and mindset coach.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So when I was initially like running my business, like, you know, you kind of just think, right, I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm charging such and such. But when you're working with someone, it can really help you put a strategy in place, think about, like, for example, goals, holding you accountable. Because when I first started working with one last year, that's when things really started to change, because it really pushed me outside of my comfort zone, thinking, right, what's next for Venetia? What do you want to do? How will you get there? Are you working on your mindset and all these things?
Interesting. I think it's great having a coach, because you're exactly right about that whole accountability piece and just, I guess, pushing you or taking you to the next level. So I actually have a health and fitness coach, and she is great. And funnily enough, I started with her the week that I started Fearless Females, and I really do think it's just helped me in all directions of my life. So yeah, it's been really, really good. It's kind of helped me seek clarity, and just, I know it's more health and fitness, but it's actually transformed my life as well. So it's really interesting how it all correlates. So yeah, and I love that she's holding me to account to things as well. So it's just adds that extra layer, which is great.
I agree. And I think having that accountability is key, because already I know that by the time I have my calls with my accountant, with my coach, it's like, right, have you filled this out? Have you thought about what you really, really want? Because otherwise you're sort of coasting, thinking, right, what am I doing now? But you need to have that direction. You need to have your goals, think, right, this is what I'm working towards. And then you've got your coach to say, right, this is how we're going to get there.
Exactly. I like that. But it's been amazing having you on this podcast, Vanisha. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been so much fun.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to the Fearless Females Voice podcast. Be sure to join our Facebook group called Fearless Females and stay tuned for the next episode. Bye for now.